Hi, I'm Rachel Morgan, 29, and until recently, I was a corporate lawyer at Anderson and Pierce. Not just any lawyer, I was the youngest partner in the firm's history. But my sister-in-law, Emma, decided my success was a personal attack on her perfect little world. You know the type, sweet as sugar to your face, while sharpening the knife for your back. That's Emma. She married my brother, Michael, right out of college, never worked a day because family comes first, and couldn't stand the idea that her husband's little sister might outshine her. The unraveling began at one of our Sunday dinners at my parents' house. We'd started the tradition 3 years ago, after Dad got sick, and it was one of the few times we all came together. That particular evening, I shared the big news. I'd made partner. Dad's face lit up, pride shining through the exhaustion the cancer had brought. "That's my girl," he said, reaching across the table to squeeze my hand. "I always knew you'd make it, surpassing even your old man." I barely had time to bask in his words before noticing Emma's reaction. Her fork froze mid-air, her knuckles whitening around the handle. "How wonderful," she said, her smile tight, her voice syrupy with false cheer. "Though I imagine it's hard, spending so much time at the office. Don't you worry about missing out on having a real family life." "Emma," Michael warned softly, but she just laughed. A tinkling, grating sound that always made my skin crawl. "Oh, I'm just concerned for Rachel," she said. "We all know how demanding legal work can be. Look at Uncle James, 2 divorces and kids who barely know him. Career success has its price." Dad cleared his throat, ready to step in, but a coughing fit overtook him. Mom rushed to his side, and Emma seized the distraction. "Rachel, dear," she continued, leaning forward with that cloying smile, "you're not getting any younger. Wouldn't Daddy love to see you settle down before, well?" She trailed off, gesturing vaguely toward Dad, who was still catching his breath. I clenched my fists, but kept my voice steady. "My career doesn't rule out a family, Emma. It just means that when I choose to start one, I'll be able to support them on my own." "Of course," Emma said, her grin sharpening. "Independence is so admirable. But there's something special about being fully devoted to family, don't you think? Michael's career supports us beautifully, doesn't it, darling?" Michael squirmed in his seat, clearly uncomfortable, but before I could respond, Dad straightened and pushed back his chair. "Rachel, come to my study after dinner," he said, his voice firm despite his weakened state. "We need to talk." Emma's eyes narrowed, though she quickly masked it with another saccharine smile. She excused herself during dessert, claiming she needed the bathroom. Later, I learned she used that time to make a phone call that would change everything. In Dad's study, he lowered himself into the worn leather chair where he'd spent countless nights working on case files. "Rachel," he began, his tone solemn, "I'm proud of you, not just for making partner, but for everything you've accomplished on your own." My throat tightened as I nodded. Moments like these reminded me how little time we had left with him. "I've been thinking," he said, pulling a thick envelope from his desk drawer. "The firm I built, Anderson and Pierce, was always meant to be a legacy. When I merged it with Pierce's practice and stepped down, I kept a significant ownership stake. I want you to have it." I blinked, stunned. "Dad, I don't know what to say." "You've earned it," he said firmly, "not just through your work, but because you understand what it means to build something that lasts. Michael has his own path, and that's fine. But you have the same fire I did." Unbeknownst to us, Emma was standing just outside the door, phone in hand, recording every word. She already had a plan, one designed to dismantle everything I'd worked for. But we'll get to that soon enough. First, you need to understand what came next, how Emma's manipulation and betrayal set the stage for the battle of my life. She wasn't just after money or power. She wanted to erase me entirely from my own family's story. For a while, she almost succeeded. The next few weeks blurred together, long days at work, longer nights at the hospital. Dad was slipping away, and Emma's manipulations were only becoming more brazen. Family dinners suddenly conflicted with my meetings. Comments about me abandoning Dad for work grew sharper. And somehow, I was always the last to know about changes to hospital visiting hours. Then came the moment that should have tipped me off that Emma's game was bigger than I realized. "Rachel, where were you yesterday?" Mom's voice trembled over the phone. "Your father was asking for you. Emma said she called you 3 times." I froze mid-sentence in a contract review. "What?" "I never got any calls from Emma." She showed us her phone log. Mom said, her voice brittle. "Don't lie to me, Rachel. Not now, not with your father like this." I scrambled to pull up my call history. "Mom, I swear I did." "Just stop," she sighed. "Just try to be here more. Emma's been such a blessing, practically living at the hospital. Maybe you could take a few days off." What I didn't know then was that Emma had been using a burner phone, forging a paper trail to make it look like she called me repeatedly. She was weaving a narrative, one where I was the neglectful daughter too consumed by work to care about her dying father. 2 weeks later, my phone buzzed with urgent messages during a high-stakes client meeting. "Emma, Dad's taken a turn. Come quickly. Michael." "Where are you?" "He's asking for you." "Mom, please hurry." I rushed out, my heart pounding. But when I arrived, Dad was sleeping peacefully, his vitals stable. "False alarm," Emma chirped, barely looking up from her phone. "He was a bit agitated earlier, but he's fine now. Did you leave something important for this?" "Oh, I'm so sorry." I stared at her, fury bubbling under my skin. My client would be furious, but she had the audacity to add, "Family should always come first, shouldn't it?" That night, I lost the client, but worse was yet to come. 3 days later, Dad actually did take a turn for the worse. This time, no messages came, no calls. I found out at midnight when Michael's broken voice reached me. "Rachel, Dad's gone." "Where were you?" "We tried to reach you for hours." My world tilted. "What?" "No one contacted me." I didn't get. "Don't," he snapped, his voice cold. "Emma showed us she texted you. Mom's devastated." "How could you do this?" I collapsed to the floor, frantically scrolling through my phone. Nothing. No texts, no calls. Later, I learned Emma had used Dad's phone during her visits to block my number from everyone's contacts. A small trick with devastating consequences. At the funeral, Emma played her role flawlessly, the grieving daughter-in-law who'd done everything she could to keep the family together. I stood on the sidelines, drowning in judgmental glances from relatives and friends. But Emma wasn't done. A week after the funeral, we gathered for the will reading. I sat in numb silence as the lawyer began, but Emma quickly interjected. "Before we continue," she said softly, pulling out her phone, "there's something everyone needs to hear." She played a recording of the conversation in Dad's study the night I made partner, only it was doctored, cut to make it sound like I was demanding my inheritance and threatening to abandon the family if I didn't get what I wanted. "There's more," Emma added, her voice trembling with mock concern. "Rachel's been planning this for months, taking advantage of Daddy's condition to manipulate him." She unveiled screenshots of fake text messages, edited emails, and financial records supposedly tying me to suspicious transfers from Dad's accounts. The room erupted. Mom burst into tears. Michael wouldn't even look at me. The lawyer cleared his throat, his face grim. "Given this evidence," he said, and a codicil Mr. Morgan added to his will, stating that any heir found guilty of undue influence would be disinherited. He paused, his eyes heavy with pity. "All assets intended for Rachel Morgan will be redistributed according to the secondary provisions." I sat there, hollowed out, as everything crumbled, my inheritance, my father's stake in the firm, even my position at Anderson and Pierce. Emma had destroyed it all. Or so she thought. What Emma didn't realize was that I hadn't spent years as a corporate lawyer without learning how to protect myself. I had my own records, and I was about to use them. For the next 3 months, I played the part of the defeated. Let Emma bask in her triumph. I went to work, kept my head down, and watched as she wormed her way deeper into the family. Her latest move? Requesting my office at the firm, claiming it would help her manage Michael's inherited shares more efficiently. But while Emma was busy playing queen, I was quietly building my case. It started with Linda, Dad's secretary of 20 years, the same woman Emma dismissed as just another employee. Linda came to me one evening, her face pale, a USB drive clutched in her hand. "Your father," she began hesitantly. "He suspected something was wrong in his final months. He asked me to keep recording everything, just in case." The drive contained security footage from Dad's study, including the unedited version of our conversation the night I made partner. The version that proved my innocence. But it also revealed something more damning. Emma's late-night visits to Dad's office, rifling through his files and planting documents when she thought no one was watching. Then Trevor, the firm's aid specialist, approached me one evening after work. "Ms. Morgan," he said, shifting uncomfortably, "I've been reviewing those financial records Mrs. Morgan submitted. Some things don't add up." Trevor had uncovered backdated entries and manipulated timestamps, all traced back to Emma's home computer. Her arrogance had been her downfall. Her system still backed up automatically to the firm's cloud storage. And then came the moment that sealed her fate. "Rachel," Michael's voice was shaky when he called me. "We need to talk. It's about Emma. I found something." Over coffee, he slid a folder across the table. Inside were bank statements, wire transfers, and receipts. "She's been embezzling," Michael whispered, his hands trembling. "Not just from the firm, she's drained Mom's accounts too. She said it was to streamline family finances during Dad's illness. But—" I placed my hand over his, steadying him. "I know, Michael, and I have everything we need to prove it." The stage was set. At the next family dinner, Emma invited everyone. Mom, Michael, even board members from Anderson and Pierce, to announce her new role as family trustee. She stood at the head of the table, all smiles, raising her glass in triumph. "Before we celebrate," I said, rising to my feet, "there are some people you should meet." On cue, Linda walked in, followed by Trevor and a forensic accountant I'd hired. One by one, they presented their evidence: the unedited recordings, the forged documents, the financial manipulation. The security footage showed Emma breaking into Dad's office late at night, planting the very documents she used to frame me. Emma's composure shattered. "This is a lie," she stammered, her face pale. "Rachel's making this up." "Like the phone logs?" I asked, nodding to Trevor, who displayed proof of her blocking scheme. "Or the doctored financial records?" "The thing about digital evidence, Emma, is that it always leaves a trail." The room erupted. Board members demanded an emergency session. Mom sobbed with anger, devastated by Emma's betrayal. Michael sat in stunned silence, twisting his wedding ring. By the end of the night, Emma's empire of lies had crumbled. Justice was swift. Emma faced criminal charges for fraud and embezzlement. The will was invalidated, and Dad's estate was divided fairly. Michael filed for divorce. Under my leadership, the firm weathered the scandal and came back stronger. It took time for Mom to fully reconcile with me, the guilt of her misplaced trust weighing heavily on her. But one evening, as we shared a quiet dinner, she said, "Your father would be so proud of you, not just for proving your innocence, but for how you did it. No shortcuts. No revenge. Just the truth." I keep Dad's photo on my desk now, in the office Emma once tried to steal. Some nights, when the city is quiet, I imagine him smiling at me, his approval as clear as if he were still here. And Emma? Last I heard, she was facing 5 to 10 years. I couldn't resist sending her one final message before her sentencing. Family should always come first, right? Sometimes karma doesn't need help finding its way. But here's why I wonder. If you were in my position, would you have waited to gather the evidence, or would you have struck back sooner? Maintaining your integrity while fighting for the truth is no easy feat. I'd love to hear your thoughts.